Holla at your boy. Like a hockey dad. What's up? It's the MMA analyst back at it again. All right, I'm just responding to a few requests. Some people wanted to hear about my what I'm gonna call my MMA favorites, MMA favorite fighters, favorite fights, favorite knockout, favorite submissions. You know what I'm talking about? The stuff, the highlights. What makes you keep coming back, what makes you keep looking for more. So what I put together, my top 5 fighters. Now, 3 of them are MMA fighters. One of them is a kickboxing practitioner, and the other, well, I'm gonna surprise you with that one, coming in at number 5. But I'm gonna get right through to it, get right down to it. We're gonna start off with my top favorite fighters. All right, number 5 is gonna surprise a bit of y'all. Pretty boy Floyd Mayweather Jr., aka Money Mayweather, aka I'm Getting It. This is the only record I'm really going to bring up. The guy's 35-0 with 25 wins by KO. Now, a lot of people are trying to make a comparison between Lyoto Machida and Mayweather. Nah, man. Mayweather has 25 wins by knockout. That's a big thing. He's finished all his fights but 10 by KO. Mayweather finishes his fights. Let's get down to it. He's fast. He's impossible to touch, let alone hit. He's cocky. He's a showboat. He's extremely entertaining. And to me, what makes all those negative qualities that I just mentioned acceptable is that he backs it up. Ricky Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, Zab Judah, Arturo Gotti in one of his biggest beatdowns. Jose Luis Castillo, Jesus Chavez, Diego Corrales, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Mayweather's the dude, you know what I mean? He's either going to finish his career undefeated or he's going to fight past his prime, and you know what's going to happen. He's eventually going to lose if he does that. Dude makes $25 million a fight. $25 million a fight. Really, people hate the guy. I love his antics. To me, he's everything he has to be in order to be who he is. He was raised in the ghetto of Grand Rapids, Michigan, by a dysfunctional family of fighters. He made it through these horrible conditions, climbed his way all the way to the top of the sport. Now, if he ever tried MMA without at least 2 to 3 years of serious mixed martial arts training, wrestling, takedowns, jiu-jitsu defense, etc., he'd get his ass whooped. Just like any MMA fighter trying to box against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a boxing match would get, their ass whooped. But as of right now, it doesn't even matter. There's not enough money in the whole sport of MMA to pay Pretty Boy Floyd. UFC makes $30 million a card on average. That's only $5 million more than what Floyd made his last fight. So, you know what I mean? Just a thought, though. Mayweather's only 31. So let's say he did decide, I've already taken boxing down. It's my thing. Everybody knows. If he trained, wrestling and jiu-jitsu for the purpose of MMA competition for 2 years, he'd be younger than half the guys in MMA competing right now, and undeniably, he'd have the best hands in the sport right from jump. He's a boxer, yes, but he's the best one in the world, and he's my 5th favorite fighter. Okay, we're going to move on. A little closer to MMA. Number 4, Remy the Flying Gentleman Bonjasky. All right, now, this is the first fighter ever to really grab a hold of me, by the throat. Like, wake up, This is a sport. It's a damn exciting and amazing sport, and you're going to love it. Bonjasky is a kickboxer, but anybody who's seen him fight and literally fly across the ring and knock a dude out, a professional fighter, knock him out cold, end up with one leg, on the top rope on the other side, and other leg inside, and some dude laying beside him unconscious will understand what I'm talking about. Remy Bonjasky is a 3-time K1 champion. He's got wins over anybody whose name isn't Semi Schilt. The guy's literally a beast, but at the same time, he really is a gentleman. He doesn't talk trash. You know, he's got his like cool little prescription shades on, you know, kind of like myself. I mean, the first time I saw him, I was channel surfing. You know, I had pirated satellite at the time, you know, in my younger, more, you know, crazy days. Anyways, I don't got it anymore, though. It's all legit. I buy my stuff. I buy my stuff. All right. Anyways, I'm channel surfing, and I see somebody doing something crazy. At the time, I didn't know it was Remy. And I stopped, and I was at a party, and I wasn't really feeling the situation. Everybody's outside, you know, doing whatever, whatnot. I'm sitting inside, I'm watching this dude. And I'm watching him beat people down. I'm watching him handle his business. So by the end of the night, every dude at that party was sitting in the living room, like cheering on this guy. Like, we're just going crazy because it was literally an amazing thing to witness for the first time. That was 2003. It was the K1 World Grand Prix. He won it. I was hooked. And Remy Bonjasky, or Remy Bonjasky, is my fourth favorite fighter. All right, on to number 3. I've spoke about this guy in the past. Norifumi Kid Yamamoto. This guy, straight up, he's a badass. And really, I love seeing this kid do what he's not supposed to do. That's how I got hooked. Let me explain what I'm talking about. You're not supposed to knock a guy out in 4 seconds by flying knee. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to, you know, rear naked choke, get the guy and hold on to it until you feel like letting go, or until you literally, your arms are pried off the guy's neck. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to knock a dude out and then step over him. You ain't supposed to do that. No. You're not supposed to lay down beside the guy you just knocked out. Just, you know, like you're on a beach. Meanwhile, the doctors are working on the guy you just KO'd. Not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to punch a guy until he tries to escape through the ropes, and then reach through the ropes, throw down hammer fist, stick out your tongue like Michael Jordan, and just smile while you beating on this dude. Nah, man. You're not supposed to have Olympic wrestling skills, okay? But win 12 of your 17 victories by knockout. And you're supposed to lose more than once. And, you know, and the time you do lose, the only one time you lose, you know, it's only by cut. And it's 30 seconds into the fight, so it's more like a freak cut. These are all things that really aren't supposed to happen. And that's why I like this guy. He does the things that you just don't regularly see. And he does them with exciting fashion. Now, I'm not going to lie. A lot of stuff I just mentioned sound like some real unsportsmanlike asshole type stuff. And, I mean, it is what it is. But he has changed his ways. When he was doing all that stuff, he's still in his 20s. He's still young, still just trying to be an entertainer. Now, he's just as vicious as he ever was, but he keeps it within the realm of the rules of the sport. Kid Yamamoto, you know, he's the top 135 fighter on the earth. The ladies love him. He's hardcore, and he's vicious, he's dangerous, and he's my third favorite fighter. All right, moving on to number 2. Shinya, the Tobiken Juden Aoki. I've talked about this guy before also. This guy is great in MMA, but his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu highlights are even better. I'm talking about with the gi on. People know this guy is going to try the flying armbar. And when I say try, I don't mean try. I mean, he's going to pull it off. So they protect. Good. I mean, if you're fighting Shinya Aoki, you got to say to yourself, okay, you know what? Make sure you don't get flying armbarred. Whatever you do, he's going to do it. Make sure you don't get flying armbarred. And they still get armbarred. These guys are black belts going out there with all the knowledge that they've attained over the past possible decade, and they're still getting flying armbarred by Shinya Aoki, and it's not a surprise. Let me put it like this. The harder a submission is to pull off, that's the less you see it. So you see regular arm bars all the time, easy to pull off. Easiest submission to pull off, rear naked choke. You see it all the time. Gogoplata, harder to pull off, you don't see it as much. Flying armbar, you never see that. I mean, you might see it on the smaller cards with a good jiu-jitsu guy against somebody who has no idea what he's doing, but for the most part, you don't see flying armbars. This guy pulls them off at will. What else? Gogoplatas, from the guard, from the mount, flying triangles. He fights you by jumping guard, then completely controlling your body, nullifying all of your offensive attacks, and then attacking himself from any angle. I'm telling you, Shinya Aoki is sick. He runs around in rainbow tights, comes into the Baka Survivor song. He cries when he wins. He cries when he loses. I mean, dude is a character. He's a great fighter, and he's my second favorite fighter. All right, here we go. Number one. I'm sure all y'all know who it's going to be. Fedor, the Last Emperor Emelianenko. Fedor, the Russian Experiment Emelianenko. Fedor, Faceless, No Expression Emelianenko. Pride Fighting Championship, arguably undefeated. One of the most explosive fighters I've ever seen. Pinpoint accuracy with the ground and pound. Uncanny submission defense. Russian Sambo champion. The guy's got balance like a cat. Whenever I show people, you know, they say to me, who's the greatest fighter in mixed martial arts? Most of the time, to be honest, they're new, so they say, who's the greatest fighter in the UFC? Because they think the UFC is a sport. I tell them, no, the UFC is like NBA, and the MMA is like basketball. So then they say, okay, well, who's the greatest fighter in MMA? I show them, you know, I bring them right to YouTube. I bring them right to the site that I know about that has all of his fights. I show them a Pride collection, and I say, this dude right here, Fedor Emelianenko. Really, why? And when I show them the footage, whenever they leave the house, they're like, yo, I'm going to find out more about this guy. This guy's crazy. How could I not know this guy existed? And that's literally how I got hooked on him. I mean, I saw him fight. I saw him fighting in Pride, and I was just like, this guy is a beast. When people don't even care about MMA, and I'm just bothering them. You know MMA fans, you know what I'm talking about. When you try and show people who don't give a damn about fighting MMA, and you try and like expose somebody, you know, who doesn't care about MMA to MMA, try showing them Fedor Emelianenko, because even if they don't care about the fights, they'll be so impressed by the fact that this dude's about to go to battle, to war, and he's standing in the corner looking like a scared puppy. And then they do, you know, they touch gloves, and he's just, I don't even know if I want to be here. I don't know. I wonder what's probably going to get a beer tonight. Meanwhile, the other dude slapping himself in the face, going crazy. Fedor, good luck, good luck. Try and touch gloves. And then what happens? You know, maybe you're Ogawa and you don't touch his gloves, no big deal. He's going to submit you. You're screaming, you're acting a damn fool. No problem. He's going to submit you. No hype, no jumping, nothing. Business as usual. You want to try and suplex me? Okay, I'm going to submit you. Even after grueling fights, close decisions, nothing changes in his face. He'll come back to win like a crazy fight where like he was at the brink of defeat. Nothing. Just face is just the same as it always was. Look back at the Randleman fight. This is probably one of the greatest highlights ever for more reasons than one. First things first, Randleman gets that suplex, picks him up. Randleman leaves his feet. Fedor gets lands on the head first, shoulder, everything. Bam. 30 seconds later, Randleman's getting submitted. And what happens? He's got him, and he releases the arm slow. Anybody who knows, if you're like, let's say it's a arm wrestling, and you arm wrestle and you beat the other guy, if you just boom, let go, that's bad, because you could bust the other guy's stuff all in his arms. Same thing with certain types of submissions. If you go for an Americana Kimura or whatever, if you just, and then you just let go with the guy pushing back, you could jack his stuff up. So Fedor Emelianenko just got slammed by a dude who could have arguably broke this guy's neck all up. And then he submits him 30 seconds later, and what's he do? He guides his arm back. Like, don't worry, Kevin. I've got you. I've got you, little one. Stands up, doesn't go, I'm the greatest, I just won, I just defied the human odds. He just stood up and was like, I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm Fedor, ain't nothing big. It's just a regular day in the office. What else? He never gets gassed. Dude is pudgy looking. He's not, I mean, where does he get his cardio? He never gets tired. He got hit by Fujita, boom. La La Land. His legs are noodle, wobbly. He doesn't know what to do. He's out cold almost. But his body muscle memory tells him, grab on, grab on. It's kind of like in the movie when like something happens and you get into that phase where like your eyes are closed and you flash back and you gotta fight with your eyes closed. That's what Fedor basically did. Boom. Wobbly, wobbly. What's he do? He doesn't fall to the ground. He doesn't, act a damn fool. He tries to hold on to Fujita. What happens? A few minutes later, boom, boom, kick, rear naked choke out. What's he do? Stand up. I'm the greatest. Dude is the greatest. A lot of people have problems that he fights the freaks. Zuluzinho. Yeah, he's huge. A lot of guys will lose to Zuluzinho. Not because Zuluzinho's so much, such a great fighter, but because it's hard to fight somebody that's that big. Lots of guys will beat Zuluzinho, but how many will just walk up to him, fake, boom, pop him, knock him down, throw his legs out of the way, hammer fist, 30 seconds, out, gone, home. The guy's amazing. Hongman Choi, another freak. The dude's like 7'8". He's got a head the size of my torso. He's got fists the size of my thighs, okay? The guy weighs like 400 something pounds. When Fedor got that first armbar attempt on him, his escape was to lift up Fedor Emelianenko while on his knees with one arm. He just was like, get off me, get off me, get off me. That's a 230 plus pound man. Get off me, get off me. He beats the freaks. He beats the best in the world. He's beat anybody that he's ever faced. He's amazing. He is the greatest fighter in the world, according to me. He's going to beat Tim Sylvia on July 19th. And Fedor Emelianenko is my favorite fighter. All right. Damn. That was that was like a sprint and a marathon all in one. Okay, here we go. On to my favorite, my other MMA favorites. I'm going to start off with one of my favorite fights, but I'm going to call it my favorite comeback of all time. This is Kazushi Sakuraba against Kęstutis Smirnovas. Now, if you haven't seen this fight, I'm going to try and find the link, and I will link it on the side. I'm new to the YouTube, so I don't know if it's on this side or if it's on this side, but in the side, you're going to see a whole lot of links. If you want to see what these are, click the link, you're going to find what I'm talking about. Smirnovas comes out of the gate, boom, catches Sakuraba with a nice shot, drops him, fight's over. No, wait a sec. What happens next is the greatest comeback of all time. Should the fight have been stopped? Absolutely. How many times? Unlimited moments where the stoppage would not have only been the right call, but it would have been a merciful call. But being the favorite, being the organization that it was, the ref wasn't going to stop this unless Sakuraba stopped or unless he straight up died. And thank God neither happened because, like I said, this is the greatest comeback in MMA history. There's a highlight guy, Genghis Khan, possibly the best highlight guy there is for MMA. He put together a highlight video of this fight. I'm going to try and find that. I'm going to try and link it. It's the greatest fight comeback ever. Not a close second, but second would be, a few Nogueira fights. But, the Trigg versus Hughes, I think it was their second fight. Basically, Hughes hits in the balls. He looks at the ref. Boom. Then he gets tagged. He's dazed. Trigg jumps on him, punches him, gets his back, tries to get the rear naked choke. And then in the middle of all this beatdown, and I don't like Matt Hughes for the record, but I was going crazy when I was watching this because he just gets up and picks up Trigg, carries him across the octagon, slams him down on the other side, and then rear naked chokes him. Frank Trigg, the very next fight after Frank Trigg was like, I'll never be rear naked choked again. But really, it doesn't compare. Watch the first fight I'm talking about. I mean, if you haven't seen that fight, watch that one too. But it doesn't compare. All right. Favorite submission. All right, here we go. There are a lot of nice flying arm bars, flying triangles, Goga Platas. Recently, there was a really nice armbar by Dustin Hazlitt in the UFC. He got the guy in the whizzer. That's when you take your arm and it goes over the other guy's arm and you're on the side. And he jumped to an armbar. It was a real nice armbar. But I'm gonna have to go with a Shinya Aoki flying armbar that he did in jiu-jitsu tournaments with the gi on. Now I'm watching it, and there's this guy sitting. Flying armbar is normally always, the guy standing, you lock up, and then you leave that arm out. Whoop whoop. So everybody knows Shinya Aoki's he's gonna go for the flying armbar. So dude sits his ass on the ground. Good plan, right? Wrong. Nah. Dude sits down and Shinya Aoki jumps into what would look like the guy's guard and then still gets the arm, still gets the flying armbar. And I'm almost sure he broke the arm in the process. It's an amazing highlight. It's so difficult to pull off. A flying armbar is hard enough to pull it off under regular circumstances. But when somebody is trying to block the flying armbar, they're sitting. I mean, it really is an amazing submission. It's my favorite submission. There are so many submissions, obviously. Especially circumstantial submissions like Nate Diaz, his submission against Kurt Pellegrino, took a beat down. Another, real nice comeback and caught him in the triangle choke, sitting on his back, didn't even push the head down, threw up the middle fingers and just smiled and laughed while the guy tapped. This is a great submission, but so many it's hard to pick, but I'm going to go with this one here. Favorite KO? Even a harder decision. I mean, there are so many amazing knockouts, especially if I was going to talk about from boxing to K1 to mixed martial arts. But out of all of them, if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Rob McCullough versus Olaf Alfonso with the help of a useless tit of a referee. Basically, Rob McCullough, bam. I'm going to do it again. Bam. Mouthpiece across the whole cage, just gone. So, Alfonso falls to the back. Oh, man, I'm so dazed. I can barely hold my head up. I'm basically out cold. The ref decides it would be a good idea at this point to go pick up and completely turn his back on the fight. He goes and picks up the mouthpiece. So what happens next? Bonk, 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 bonk. Broken jaw, concussion, highlight beatdown, and my top KO. Is brutal KO. The referee, wow, I don't know if he's still reffing stuff, but he needs to, he needs to do something else with his life. Traffic tickets. Not to say that that's bad, but you can't put somebody else's well-being in your hands if you can't even make simple decisions. It's not about the ref though, it's about the KO. I got that link. I already have it all ready to go. Check that one out if you haven't seen it. My favorite fights, one of them, Nick Diaz versus Takanori Gomi. Basically, Diaz was supposed to be the lamb sent to slaughter, and it really looked like that was going to happen. You know, Gomi comes out, punches him up a bit, drops him, takes him down, whatever, whatnot, boom, 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 bam, bam, beating him down. And then Gomi just gasses. He must not have taken the fight serious. I don't know what the excuses are. Maybe he just got outclassed. I don't know. But what happened next was a boxing clinic. Diaz just, what he always does. I personally love when he starts doing all this dumb stuff because it's just funny. He just walks up, hands up, and he never throws any power. He basically throws it about as fast as I'm throwing it right now. But he just starts connecting, puts on a boxing clinic, and then Gomi takes him down for a rest. Wrong. That not rest time. You just got go-go plotted. His shin, his arm trapped you. You can't do anything here. He's got your other arm trapped. He's got the shin up in your throat, choking you out. Fight over. Amazing fight. Another favorite fight, I already mentioned it, Fedor Emelianenko versus Kevin the Monster Randleman. Greatest suplex in MMA history, and only seconds later, the guy who got suplexed on his head by a Division I wrestler submits the dude and helps him up and gets up, and then after the fact invites him out for beers in the locker room. Amazing fight. And another one of my favorite fights would be Fedor Emelianenko versus Nogueira, their first fight. Basically, in this one, Nogueira is the king. He's the UFC champion. Nobody can beat him. He takes a beating, and then he wins. And that's what happens. And, I mean, you listen to Bas Rutten and Mauro Ranallo, and basically, you know, they're like, yeah, but he's got to watch out because, you know, if he leaves that arm in there, he's going to get caught. And this is what happened every time. Beat, 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 submission. You're done. That's what happens every single time. And it just never happened. The submission never happened. The beatdown continued. Most guys would have been knocked out with the shots that Nogueira was taking, but, you know, Nogueira can take shots. We all know he's got a chin of granite and like a jaw of steel, and he just takes the gunks off the ground. I'm getting a headache just He's playing, I don't know what game that would be, maybe racquetball or something. But he's playing with Nogueira's head off the ground, and he just does that nonstop, and he beats him down for the entire fight, and he's the champ. And it's an amazing fight. It's really like a passing of the guard. This is when pretty much everybody realized, yo, Fedor is for real, and he really has never gone, anywhere else but up. I mean, he has plateaued, but he's gonna go up again this weekend. And just a quick whatever. The greatest knockout that never happened. Mark Hunt versus Mirko Cro Cop. They fought in K1, and Mirko Cro Cop's left high kick, everybody knows that is his biggest weapon. If you get hit with that flush, even if you get hit with just the tip of the shin. I mean, there's the one dude, I forget his name, but he had that freaky little sex mask on. It looked weird. I wouldn't wear that in a fight because I don't know. It's a dumb decision, but it doesn't matter. He was there to get beat. He did get beat. He kind of ducked under the kick, and the shin just kind of just off the corner, and the dude dropped. And then Mirko came in with like clock clow. He was already knocked out by the time he came in with the uppercut. But just the corner, just like that much, dude was out cold. Same with like Bonjasky. Bonjasky came through with the flying kick and was just like, ah. And the dude got knocked out. Mark Hunt took the whole thing. Like, Mirko Cro Cop went for the punch, and Mark Hunt was like, nah, don't punch me, and kind of weaved to the side and literally leaned in to a full Crow Cop left high kick, and he went, boom. He took it, bam, and kind of came back and was like, oh, damn. But I'm all good. It's all good. He got knocked down, but got up in another time. Basically, with the fights that Crow Cop has had with Hunt has taken 3 full Crow Cop kicks, left high kicks, and has never lost consciousness. The one time he got knocked down, he stood back up and put his hands on the ropes and was like, damn, that was tough. That was tough. And just went back in the fight and continued to get beat. All right, so, I mean, that's about it. You know, there you have it. What are your thoughts? I told you what my MMA favorites are. What are yours? Who are your favorite fighters? You know, what do you think the best comeback is? What's your favorite submissions? You know, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's the MMA analyst back at it again, doing the best I can do. And I hope y'all are enjoying it. I know I am. Peace. Haha, MMA is important. It's important. I wasn't going to forget.